Hi everybody. So there's the fruit basket, and I want to try to explain why I use the fruit basket. So pretend like you put all arguments. You figure out that something counts as an argument and you put them in the top level. Okay, now some of those arguments are going to turn out to be valid and some are going to turn out to be invalid. If they're invalid, doesn't mean they're bad. More about that later. But if they're valid, then we have another thing that we have to check for. So let's remind ourselves first, what is a valid argument? A valid argument is an argument in which if we assume that all the premises are true, the conclusion would have to be true as well. Okay, so the Spider-Man argument, for example, fits that pattern. So if we decide that an argument is valid, then for sure it's deductive. Why? Because a deductive argument is an argument where the intention is for the conclusion to follow necessarily from the premises. And so since a valid argument is an argument in which if the premises are all assumed to be true, the conclusion would have to be true, then every valid argument is a deductive argument. But we're not done, because there are a lot of really lousy deductive arguments, like the Superman argument. What we next need to do is we need to ask ourselves, are the premises all, as a matter of fact, true? And of course, in the Spider-Man argument, we say no, they're not, and therefore we say, okay, well, that's a deductive argument, and it's a valid argument, but it's not a good argument. For a deductive argument to be a good argument, it has to pass through to the third basket, if you will. So it's an argument. That's an argument. It is a valid argument, but the Spider-Man argument is not the sound argument, so it doesn't make it to all the way to the bottom basket. So a sound argument is a valid argument that also has all true premises. So, sometimes it's easy to see that, yeah, an argument is sound, but many occasions it's not. It's very difficult. And so in those cases, the better move is to suspend judgment. Sometimes the rational thing to do is not to conclude that an argument is sound or unsound or strong or weak or good or bad, but to say, I'm just not sure. And a big part of critical thinking is keeping that additional point in mind. You should never feel pressure from a critical thinking point of view to reach a conclusion about whether or not a particular argument is good or bad. You may have more work to do. Okay, so it's kind of a tough section, so I thought I'd jump in here, say hello, and explain why the fruit basket is there. Enjoy.